Okay, I want this sheet out. If you don't have this sheet, take out, we'll give you another one. Miss Alonzo and I will give you another one. But for this first part here, I want to make sure we're going to go through 4 different problems. We're going to talk about it. Then we're going to get into whiteboards, going over the concept, and then you are going to do an exit ticket on your own. Today, the calculator will come into play quite a bit. So if you have this out, could you also take your calculator out? So have your calculator out and have it on your screen. Now, I'm going to keep it here when I need it. I'm going to put it away right now. So the first question I'm going to give you, you've already done the look it over square roots, so you should be comfortable with that. If I was to say x squared plus, let's just say 50 equals 99, okay? Your first step, we'll take this into steps with the boxes. That's what the flow map is for, to show each step. So we'll take this into account and do each box. And I'm going to show you in colors. Your first step, you see the squared. I want you to treat the equation like there's no squared there, okay? Like there's no squared there. So your first step would be subtract 50 to both sides, okay? When you do that, that cancels this out, right? This is gone. And what do you have left? You're going to bring this down. You're still going to have your x squared equals, and if you still struggled with understanding what, 90 minus what, 50? Not 90, 99? 49, okay? So 49. And we'll leave that over there. So then, when you see this, let's go ahead and rewrite it. And that should look familiar. You should know right away what this is going to equal. If you're still kind of lost on what to do here, this idea of x means, really, it means x times x. If you remember our exponent rules, so it's a number times itself, x times x. What number times itself equals 49? And we know that, but how do you get rid of this to eventually, we want it just to be x by itself, okay? We don't want the squared there anymore, and we talked about this yesterday. To get rid of this, you're going to square root it, or go off the wall, right? Go off the wall, the van sign. You're going to go to the van sign and go off the wall, square root it, square root both sides, and the square root of 49 is 7. What number times itself equals 49? Now, this is all great. This is all great and dandy, all right? Let me just show you one thing real quick. So if I pulled out this calculator again, pay attention, and I did square root of 49, boom, my answer's there, okay? But what if it wasn't 49? What if it was 45? What if the equation said it was 45? Now look at this. Look at this problem, okay? That's a little different. And let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. So I want you to start seeing this. If it's square root of 45 and like it's 6.7, that would be your answer, 6.7. This spot right here, you need to know this for the exit ticket. This spot right here is the 10th. That's called the 10th. The spot over here is called, sorry about that. I had a little visitor here this morning, so let's go ahead and let's talk about this again. I know here. So this idea of this right here is called the 10th. This is called the 100th. So we're going to have to round today. And if you forgot about rounding, because we're going to have squares that aren't always perfect. So if I said 39, okay, or if I said 41, actually, let me pick a 42. Let me pick a good one you can round. Here's one, okay, 44. When I look at it to the 10th, that would be this answer right there, 6.63. You guys need to pay attention, because in order to round it, your answer could either be 6.6, or if you rounded up, it could be 6.7, right? But you need to know on your exit ticket, there's going to be like 2 or 3 you're going to have to round. When you look at that, you're looking at that 10th and the 100th. You're basically looking at the 100th, okay? So when you do look at that, this 100th is 3. Now, if you remember, 5 or more raise the score. 5 or more, raise the score. Is 3 bigger than 5? No. So if this was 6.65, then your answer would have raised the score. You would have raised it up 1. But since it's 6.63, or if even it was 6.64, you don't raise it up. Your answer is good here. Okay? Let's do another one real quick just so you can see the idea of rounding, because I've noticed I've taught this for 13, 14 years and kids forget how to round. So let's just say, what if your answer, and I still want to give you a square root kind of problem. So what if it was a square root of 126? If you look at this, the 10th is here, and this is the 100th. So if I said round this to the 10th, your answer would be 11.2. 11.2, okay? You wouldn't make it 11.3 because this number isn't 5 or more, all right? If this number was 5 or more, then you would raise the score. So let's try to get one that we actually do have to round. 7. Here we go. Here's one that you have to round up. So if I look at this, 11.2, right, to the 10th. I keep telling you, you're going to round to the 10th. That's this one right here. But what if it was this number here is 5 or more, raise a score? So your answer here is actually going to be 11.3. 11.3, okay? Not 11.26, 11.3, not 11.2, 11.3, all right? So that's going to be your answer, okay? All right, let's go back to our sheet now, and let's go ahead and see what Mr. Mersick means about these answers that aren't going to be oh so perfect, all right? So let's go ahead and give you another one. Just like this one, x squared plus 50, I'll do 50 again, equals 70. We'll give you some easy numbers to work with, so you don't really need the calculator for that first part. First steps first, and when you do whiteboards, all right, whiteboard person would be writing this down and look at their partner and say, what do I do? And their partner would say, okay, first step is to subtract 50. All right, and that's your first step. And then you're going to have x squared equals 20. Let's move it over here. How do you get rid of the square? You're going to square root it, okay? So we're going to try to figure out what the square root of 20 is. It's not 5 times 5. It's not 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 4 times 4 is 16. So now we got to kick it up a notch and figure out what is this number here. And let me move it down a little so you can see if I was to do this. Oh, back here. And clear all. Okay, so the square root of 20. Square root of 20. Does that make sense right here? That's what we did right here. Square root of 20. Here, what do we get? Ooh, this is a good one. 4.47. If you wrote that out, and I'm going to write that out. I'm going to write that out to the 100th. All right? 4.47. But you need to understand what it means to round to the 10th. The 10th is that number right there. The number that's next to the decimal. This is the 10th. That 4 is the 10th. This is the 100th. If I said round to the 10th, you're going to look at this number, that's 4. Okay, cool. But you're more interested in that number. If this number is 5 or more, raise the score. So 5 or more, raise the score. So your answer is actually going to be 4.5. All right. If this was 4.44, you would have just left it alone. Your answer would have been 4.4. If this was 4.42, your answer would have been 4.4. Okay, but since it's 4.47, we're going to round it up. All right, awesome. Let's do another one. Over here on this side, I'll leave the calculator open. I want you guys using your calculator. This is time for you guys to try this on your own. What if I said x squared plus 35 equals 50? Still trying to give you easy numbers to deal with. Why don't you try that one on your own? First step, I want you guys to, again, subtract 35 to both sides. Then you get that, right? X squared equals 15. Well, we know what to do. We're going to square root it, right? We're going to square root it. How do you get rid of the exponent? You square root it. All right, square root of 15. Square root of 15 right there. And what do we get? 3.87. Interesting. 3.87. And I'm going to tell you, round to the 10th. Round to this 10th here. All right, 10th, 100th. We talked about this a lot. What would this look like if you rounded the 10th? Are you just going to keep it at 3.8? Is that going to stay at 3.8? It could. If this number was 4 or less, it would stay. But since it's a 7, your answer rises up. It rounds up. All right? Hopefully we got a good idea on rounding. Let's do one more. What if I said it's 100 plus x squared equals 300? Giving you some nice numbers again. Go ahead and try this one out. I'm going to leave my square root open because I know what's up. I know I'm going to have to do this again. You guys are using calculators today. Understand how to use them properly, okay? So here we go. First step, I would subtract 100. Okay. Now I'm going to get this canceled out. That was a little different. The spot was in a little different spot. No big deal, right? And then from there, I'm going to go and I'm going to have x squared equals 200. I'm going to write that in here. Okay. And you can see that right here. X squared equals 200. How do I get rid of this little exponent? Because we don't want that. We don't want that exponent. We want it just to be x equals, okay? So we're going to square root both sides. Once you square root both sides, let's go ahead and put 200 in there. Awesome. Here we go. Let's see how we do this one. What is your answer going to be? I have 14 point. Am I going to round this up? It's 14.14, okay? But I'm rounding to the 10th every time on these questions. I'm going to round to the 10th, okay? If it said round to the 100th, that would be this number, and you would look at the one next to it. But we're rounding to the 10th, that 1, but we're looking next to it. Is this 5 or more raise a score? It is not. So guess what your answer is going to be? 14.1. All right? You don't raise it up. You don't round up when it's 5 or 4 or less. 4 or less. Let it rest. Oh, that's what it was. 4 or less. Let it rest. 5 or more. Raise a score. All right? Kicking it old school back in the day. All right. Now get your whiteboards out. All right. Take a look at this. So A is going to write. B is going to talk and use the calculator. Okay? B talks and uses the calculator. And then we'll switch, and A will have to talk and use the calculator, and B will write after this question. But again, your calculator's up because you're going to have to use it at the very end. So here's your first problem. Let's see how you guys handle this. I'm looking at your exit ticket. A lot of these questions are going to be from your exit ticket too, okay? And let's just say, I'm going to make up some, I'm going to say 15 plus x squared equals 30. Why don't you write that down? A, look at your partner and say, what do I do? Use your calculator if you need to. Use your notes sheet if you need to. Go for it. All right, for this one, let's make sure you would say, A would say, first step is to subtract 15 to both sides. That is your first step. X squared equals 15. First step. Second step, square root 15. That's when the calculator comes into play. Okay, calculator's here. Square root 15. And, oh, did we already do this one? Oh, we may have already done this one. 3.87. That one is on your notes, huh? My bad. I got that stuck in my head, but it's okay. 3.87. Let's round to the 10th. X equals 3.87. Or maybe we haven't. This is going to be 3.87. We're going to round to the 10th. So this is going to bump up. That 7 makes that 8 a 9. All right. The 7 bumps it up. 5 or more, raise a score. Okay. Very cool. Erase your boards. Let's get back to it. Let me move my calculator out of the way here. All right. So erase your boards. And we're going to have B write, A talk. Let's try another one. All right. If I give you something like this, 16 plus y squared equals 105. Try this one out, guys. B writes it out, looks at A and says, what do I do? All right, first step is you're going to subtract 16. And again, if you want to make sure you're clean, make sure you're clear, always feel free to use a calculator, okay? So it's going to be 105 minus 16. I have no problems. Some people can do those easily in your head. That's fine. Y squared, but I want perfection. I don't want you guys making little mistakes at this, okay? 89. All right, then the person, who is this, A, should have said, now you're going to go ahead and square root both sides and get, so now I'm going to have answer here, square root 89. And what do I get? 9.43. Does this 3 do anything to this 4? 4 or less, let it rest. Y equals 9.4. All right, let's do two more. Let's do two more. Here we go, here we go. Erase your board. A is writing, B is talking. Next problem. $300 plus x squared equals 550. All right, do the best you can. Work on this one, and I'm going to show you the one little curveball I have on there after this one. All right, guys. You're going to subtract 300. You're going to get 150. You're going to square root 150. Square root of 150 is, oops, I forgot to put the square root there. Let's see if I can do that. Perfect. Oh, it won't let me. Come on now. That's cheap here. Man, here we go. 1 has to be inside the little house, okay? 12.2. That 4 does not bump it up, so your answer is 12.2. Good job, you guys. All right, 12.2. Now, I'm going to switch boards a little bit, or switch roles a little bit here. Let's see if you guys can handle something that looks just a little bit different, but nothing too crazy. Watch this out. Watch this out. 20 plus 40 equals x squared. Now, this looks different, but this is how some of your problems are going to look once we take it up a notch next week. Now, what do you notice? Well, there's no letters or moving stuff to the left or moving stuff to the right. There is x squared here, okay? So B, you're going to write this out. Look at A. And A, we're going to talk this out kind of together. If you don't know what to do, these need to come together, okay? So that's all you have to do. Talk to your partner. Combine these like terms and try to do it right now. All right, if you know what to do, you're going to get 60 equals x squared. Now, how do you get rid of the x squared? Square root both sides. And you're going to get the square root of 60 is going to be your answer. Where did my calculator go? All right, we're going to get square root of 60. 7.7. 7.7 is your answer. That 4 doesn't affect it. That 4 does not affect it. If that was 5, then we would have changed this to 7.8. But it's 4 or less, let it rest, okay? Rounding's not difficult. Some of you guys put this wall in your head saying, I can't get rounding. No, you can get this. All right, let's do one more like this, okay? Switch roles. A writes, B talks, and next one, I'm going to say 120 plus 35 equals x squared. You guys go ahead and do this one on your own. We just did one just like this. Talk to your partner, coach each other up if you need to. A writes, B talks. Go for it. This is going to be 155 equals x squared. All right, so then you square root both sides. 155 squared. Let's take a look. 155 squared. 12.44. 12.44. We don't bump it up. 12.4 is your answer. 12.4 is your answer. You need to know this for the exit ticket. Rounding is very important for the exit ticket. Okay. Now, there's one little bonus question on the exit ticket. You're going to take it in just a second. I'm going to erase all this. I just want you to visualize and see what's going on. So the one I have is a little different than this, but I'm going to go 3. So actually, let me go. I'll go 4 squared plus 3 squared equals x squared. Now, there's just one extra step you have to do to solve this, right? So don't trip on this. Use your calculator if you need to. It's super simple when they're like this. Remember this button here? So if I went 3 squared, I can hit that and know it's 9, okay? So I know these are small ones. On the quiz, on the exit ticket, this is what it looks like. Number 7 looks like this. It's multiple choice, okay? But it looks like this one. It's bigger numbers. But for this one, I know 4 squared is 16, plus 3 squared is 9, equals x squared. You would use your calculator on this if you needed it, all right? Now, we've done this one a second ago. That's going to be 25 equals x squared. All right? You don't need a calculator for this one. It's a perfect square. Boom. Boom. All right? X squared equals 25, so x equals 5. Best of luck on the exit ticket. You have a quizzes homework. After you finish the exit ticket, work on the quizzes.